The following podcast is an enticing media production. Thank you for listening to this podcast. You are now socially obligated to pour yourself a drink, and welcome to the Drunk Squirrel.
So I don't get stabbed.
We wear headphones for your protection.
We would definitely wear headphones for my protection because I think I'd be tossed out or if I did that again.
Well, yeah, she was mad.
You know,
and that's me saying that by proxy, being at a distance going, Kenny, are you safe?
in her defense, I feel like she's right. Because if
we're not arguing our wives are right.
If there's some sort of an audio thing. Although I will say something we haven't talked about because we had some, we did a little batch recording last time. So, I mean,
Yes.
Not really, but we had 2 episodes with Randy that we did, back to back. And then 2 days later, we recorded with Debs.
And that's batch recording.
So it's basically batch recording.
Yeah.
So we haven't really talked about I think it was the second episode with Randy. We had some audio problems for some reason in the middle of it. And we were wearing headphones and I wasn't tipped off to anything. So there was a part of that conversation that was missed.
And that was the part of the conversation where my mind just like melted.
I know.
Pure just, nope, I don't even know what to do with that.
And I had to chop it a bit. So we'll get Randy back in here because he had a good time doing it. He said, he's like, that was fun.
Oh, good.
So he enjoyed the conversation, and
he was a fun guest. I mean,
yeah.
he was,
and he has a lot more. I mean, there's a lot. He can go a lot deeper into. I don't know how much deeper he can go into like the work thing.
Yeah, we didn't talk about any of the work stuff, and normally that's like a 7-year thing. So 7 years from now, he can talk about some of that.
But he did. I mean, he doesn't do this as much anymore. But there's a lot of stuff that he can even talk about right now, just with he's working with a lot of companies on like AI storage and just stuff like that, and that's not classified stuff, that's just out there. And so he's doing a lot of that right now, so that could be a fun conversation. It might be fun to include Nell on that if we actually talked AI, which may be a good episode.
It would be because
she's a big proponent of using AI responsibly to aid in your creation, not having things created for you with AI, if that makes any sense.
So we don't want to create Skynet is
Right.
her position.
Yes.
So I have some hesitation with AI because there's a lot of havoc we can wreak
Big time.
with what they're doing with that technology. So, yeah, that would be a good one.
I think that's something to just literally on the fly. It came to my head, and I know. So Nell is actually speaking on that at an event in, I think it's in Lancaster, in October sometime. So she has but she's very passionate about using AI responsibly, but using AI to help you with things. That just make your life easier as a creator, but not having them create the content for you.
All right, we have to put where she's speaking and when in the show notes.
Yeah, so I don't know off the top of my head, but
Well, we're unsupervised at the moment. What do we know?
yeah, nothing.
Football.
We know it football, which is what we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about AI. If you don't know, I've been recording for plenty of time now.
Oh, I kind of figured. I mean, Your voice changes slightly when you think you're sneaking the play button and you're like, oh yeah, we're now recording. Nobody noticed.
I didn't know I was so. Well, you should know me by now. I mean, we've been at this for almost 2. What was that?
I don't know.
Was there a noise?
I thought there was. I thought there was a voice.
Really? Well, maybe did Nell and Lauren come home?
I have no idea.
I don't know. Anyway.
Oh, it sounded like an AI voice, like a Siri or...
Tap 3. Was it your watch?
No?
Okay.
All right.
I don't know what it was. I didn't hear it.
Skynet is watching.
So, I guess.
That's what I got.
So,
All right.
yeah.
Before we get into football,
yes.
I gave you a duck. I
You
give
did-
a duck.
You did give me a duck. It's over
It's
there,
over.
actually. It's staring at you. So it's a mini duck.
It is. I'm calling them good luck ducks.
Is there a significance to these ducks?
So,
Because you said you have like 100 of them.
yeah, I had 500 at the beginning of the week.
Good Lord. Were you walking around town just handing them to people?
So I, on Sunday, encouraged my youth leaders and volunteers to take a duck or take a bunch of ducks and to hand them out. They're ducks. They're neutral. They're not little Jesuses, because I have some volunteers who work in the school, and it's just one of those disruptive things. You can hand someone a duck, and what's this? Why the duck are you giving me a duck?
And it immediately starts a conversation, though, right?
And that was the point. And just encouraging that. I had 500. I'm down to about 100 left.
Wow.
In a week.
Is that all from church?
It's people at the church who picked it up and adopted it real quick. It's last night I had to drop off Doritos at the school for Ray for band. And I'm literally pulling out and driving away from the school, and Ray texts and goes, "Hey, can you bring the ducks? I want to give them to the whole band." So he handed out a bunch of ducks to the band, and that's what I'm getting is people were picking this up and handing out ducks.
You know, it is very neutral, honestly. I mean, what's more neutral than a duck?
And I just thought it would be something goofy to do with my youth volunteers.
Yeah.
For the year. So I got 500 thinking that's going to last me a year.
Barely lasted you a week.
Crap, I'm down to like 100.
You're going to have to buy another set.
I already bought another 1,000.
Where did you just get them on Amazon or something? Or okay.
We're cheap.
This one's cool though. It's like turquoise.
Turquoise?
Yeah, it's like a little bit like a turquoise.
Turquoise?
Yeah, turquoise.
Okay. Well, and the one that I handed you, those are one of the ones that glow in the dark.
Oh, now I'm going to leave it sit right there.
Yeah.
I'm going to let it right there. That's going to be its home.
Well,
provided Lucky doesn't jump up on the desk and if it's gone, I know what happened. I don't want her to eat it though.
Yeah, well, that one you might want to move it.
Yeah, maybe I'll put it over. I got a spot for it that hopefully she won't mess with.
Yeah, the point of it though is just they're good luck ducks. I've been giving them out to everyone I've interacted with this week.
Well, maybe I'll have some good luck this week.
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows? All right, let's get into some football.
It's the final countdown.
So for context now, before we dig into this, we are recording this between weeks 1 and 2
right.
of the NFL season. So
anything we say may be moot
yes.
by tomorrow.
That's 100% true. The one thing that happens, though, with especially football, because there's such a tight window of games, there's a wild overreaction usually from week 1. And teams typically aren't who they're going to be. With what you see week 1 is probably not the same team you're going to see week 4 with most teams. Would you agree?
As a Steelers fan, I entirely identify with that statement.
So you're hoping that?
They did not start. I'm not overly disappointed with how they started week 1.
You know, they won the game, which is especially when you're figuring it out, which the Steelers really are figuring it out. So they have what appears to be their future quarterback in Justin Fields, and then they have what's sort of the here and now quarterback in Russell Wilson, right?
Right.
That seems to be the case, and it's a good situation to be in if you're the Steelers, because I feel like Justin Fields could, benefit a lot just from seeing how Russell Wilson conducts himself as a professional, because he's really been known for that in his career. So looks like you're getting some facts for me.
No, Seth Meyers did an interview with Michael Keaton recently. Okay, Michael Keaton is a Pittsburgh guy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there's actually
a lot
photos.
Of Pittsburgh guys that I didn't realize.
But he grew up in Pittsburgh. He actually started his career working on the set for Mr. Rogers.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. So, Batman was Mr. Rogers' kind of camera guy.
Interesting.
Just think about that.
That's an interesting segue in careers there, kind of flowing.
Yeah, you went from Mr. Rogers to I'm Batman. Okay.
Yeah, well, not even close to the same. Oh, and Beetlejuice. Which, speaking of Beetlejuice, I haven't heard anything good about the new Beetlejuice.
I haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, people have gone to see it, and they're like, yeah, it's weird, and it was like they just created it to see if they could make some money, and it wasn't good. That's what I've heard, so.
I get to see one movie a year in theaters right now.
So. I don't watch any movies, like, almost at all.
I miss it, but anyway, Michael Keaton is a Pittsburgh guy, and he and Seth Meyers were having an interview, and Seth Meyers is also a Steelers fan.
Is he also a Pittsburgh guy?
See, that one I don't know.
Okay.
I think so.
Fair enough.
I think he's got family in
There's
Pittsburgh.
a lot more Pittsburgh. I know I just said this, but there's a lot more Pittsburgh guys, and when I say guys, I mean, folks, famous folks.
Oh, yeah.
That are from Pittsburgh, and it comes out, and I'm like, they're from Pittsburgh? Or just from Pennsylvania in general. There's a lot out there.
You know what I just learned, like this past 2 weeks? It's been within 2 weeks. I don't remember why we were talking about this, but Pittsburgh had crime families.
Really?
Yeah. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I had no idea.
But they're underground.
Well, I will say, I definitely dated a girl who we're 99% sure her father was in the mafia.
Well, they didn't exactly advertise that stuff, so for you to not know, I guess, wouldn't be. I mean, it makes sense. Pittsburgh is a cool city. I know we're supposed to be talking football here, but Pittsburgh is a cool city. I don't know that it's, I would say that, oh, yeah, we're going to go vacation in Pittsburgh, but spending a couple days in Pittsburgh is cool.
It is. I mean, there's plenty to do. Mm-hmm. None of it is like overly touristy.
Right.
It's just, it's a small, good little connective city.
And they have the public transportation subway system. They have it. I feel like maybe I haven't experienced it properly, but I feel like they have it figured out, especially right in that downtown area in regards to like the stadiums and stuff.
Well, that they only figured out in the that's sometime in the past 20 years.
I'm glad they did, though.
But so when I was a kid, we used to go around Christmas to Pittsburgh, and we would get the there was a beep.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Okay.
There was an alert came up on Nell's computer. This is live podcasting.
1 week later.
Right.
But anyway, we used to go and we'd take the subway into the city. We'd walk the city, and it's got good transportation. Mm-hmm. It's easy to navigate mostly. Yeah. All right.
Cool. All right. Football. So you're a Steelers fan. We dabbled in that a little bit. How do you feel after week 1?
Well, and this is where I was trying to go.
Okay.
Seth Meyers said a thing, and I can't find it. I have to go back and watch the video. But he said being a Steelers fan is almost like you're overly confident and disappointed.
Okay. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go and find exactly what he said. That'll be up on the Facebook page sometime in the near future.
It makes sense to me because if you're a Steelers fan, they have a very rich history of success. Even when they're not winning Super Bowls, they're always good.
They're a hard team.
Right. But what happens is they're used to winning Super Bowls because they've won so many, so that even when they just make the playoffs, it's a disappointment to the fan base. So it makes sense to me.
I think that the Steelers are best summarized in the Immaculate Reception.
Yeah.
Because that was not a play that was intended to happen.
No.
We kind of tripped into it. We had the right people at the right moment for a fluke.
You need those moments in football, though. You need to get lucky once in a while.
But, I mean, nothing like that has happened since.
No.
So I think that is kind of what it is to be a Steelers fan.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because for the longest time, being an Eagles fan was like, ugh, right? It's just like being put through the ringer all the time.
Well, because you guys are the worst.
Yeah. But what has happened, though, since in the time since the Andy Reid era has started, and I'd have to go back to see the exact year. I don't remember exactly when Andy Reid came to Philadelphia from Green Bay, but it has turned into not as much of a rich history as Pittsburgh has, but it's that expectation that they're good every year.
Yeah,
but not quite good enough.
Right. The Eagles have done a lot better.
Yes.
It's been about a decade and a half.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
so
might even be
20 years.
20 years, yeah. Yeah. But
because they were starting to establish that back in the early aughts. So,
okay.
yeah.
So I can remember the year when I met Nell, there's a photo floating around of Nell in an Eagles jersey. We were at my friend Sam's house. We were watching the Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl that they were in against the Patriots, the one they lost. So, and I've known Nell for
that was like
19 years now?
3, 4?
4. It would have, well, it would have been 2005, actually. The Super Bowl would have been held in 2005, which would have been like February of 2005. I do believe that is
No, that
correct.
was a 2004 game.
Really? Because I thought I only met Nell in 2004.
I think, wait.
It would have been the 2004 season, but the Super Bowl, is held, early into the next calendar year. So I think it's 05. But the 04 season, what they would call it.
Whenever it was.
Rob is fact-checking me right now. He's Twittering me.
I'm trying.
He's doing fact-checking. I don't remember. But, so, I mean, regardless, that's like 19...
Oh, you're right. 2005. There it is.
Okay. 19 years ago, 18 years ago. So, yeah, it's a better part of 2 decades, honestly, that they've been, significantly better than they had been historically. So,
the joke I always used was, the Eagles, always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
mm-hmm. And essentially that is still the case. They did win 1 Super Bowl, but it's still the case.
Yeah, but they won 1. So now they're better than the Browns.
I mean, is that really what you're shooting for in life as an organization? Be better than the Browns?
In the NFL? Yeah.
Well, to say you're better than the Browns doesn't mean you're good. It just means...
It means you're not the Browns.
You're worse. It means you're not the worst team.
Which, I mean... For as much flack as I give Browns fans, I mean, you got to give them credit for sticking by.
They've been through a lot, right?
Yeah.
But they can't stop doing Browns things. That's their problem. I mean, they end up with Deshaun Watson, right? which is okay, fine. If you're going to sign Deshaun Watson, I really didn't have a problem with the signing. But when you just hand him that kind of a contract after nobody has seen this man play football in the better part, 2 years?
Yeah.
And all the mental things that, he went through, we won't get into the fact of whether he's guilty or not. Like, that's for the courts to decide.
Exactly.
But all the mental things he went through and being away from the game, and he's awful. He's absolutely awful. And... that's not to say he doesn't have it in him anymore. I just don't think I don't think he's going to be that guy that he was.
They're taking a bet. They're taking a chance on him, and it'll be interesting.
And it didn't pay off, and now you have this big contract that you're paying him. A good portion of it is guaranteed, I'm assuming. And you're stuck. I mean, you can't trade the guy. Because nobody's going to want him. Nobody's going to take him or want him. Not to mention you have the new legal action that just popped up.
That's right.
And the fact that he has not shown anything, like nobody's going to want him. So you're whatever guaranteed money, even if you release him, you're stuck and it's counting against your cap. And they just keep putting themselves over and over and over again in bad situations. And they showed last year when they have just a functional quarterback what they can be because they're not a bad football team. Look what Joe Flacco did there last year.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a really epic run with them last year.
He did.
The second half of the season playing for them.
I'm going to go take a shower after saying that.
He just did. Like it or not, Joe Flacco had a heck of a year. And it's not like Joe Flacco lit the world on fire there, but they had a decent team around him, a pretty good defense. And, they just needed someone to not give the games away, and Flacco was that.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe one of these years they will have a good run, a better run.
They need to get themselves a quarterback.
But, power to Browns fans.
Yeah.
You guys are sticking by.
Good on you.
One of the hardest teams.
Mm-hmm. Good on you. So what do you think is the outcome for the Steelers this year? What are your expectations for your Pittsburgh Steelers?
I would take and be happy with it if we can get into the playoffs on anything other than a wild card spot.
Okay.
Because, I mean, that's what it has been.
Well,
the past
I mean,
decade is...
So that's you saying that you want them to win the division.
Ideally,
because
yeah.
other than that, it's a wild card. Of course, you want them to win the division.
Yeah, I'd love to see them win the division. But, I mean, the Ravens are... And the Ravens and Steelers have got bad blood because they're the original Browns.
They just have...
And the Ravens have really become a really good team. I'm saying this under protest.
They can't... What the Ravens can't do is get past the Chiefs. It's that it's like kryptonite for Lamar.
I got to admit, I think it's going to be another Chiefs run this year.
I mean, I don't understand. I see nothing that indicates to me that it's not going to be. Let's just say that. So
and
they've actually gotten better.
Yeah, and Andy Reid has done a lot of amazing things out there with those guys.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be fair, not to say he fell into Patrick Mahomes, because I'm certain that Andy Reid had a good hand in his development, because Andy Reid is a quarterback guy too.
So, have you looked at my my fantasy team?
Mm-mm.
So you don't know who I got?
I don't, honestly.
I got Mahomes.
Oh, that'll be a good...
I am not trading him.
I have Lamar.
I saw that.
Well, I have Lamar, and surprisingly enough, so the one guy in the league bowls is a bowler with Pete, and DJ's his name. He had Jalen Hurts, and he picked up Kirk Cousins and dropped Jalen Hurts. And immediately, I went in and snagged Hurts off of waivers because I didn't have a backup quarterback, honestly. They did, Pete did kind of just an auto draft, like an overnight thing.
Right.
Which actually I thought was kind of cool because then everybody can kind of make their moves as like a GM. You know what I mean? I think it adds a little bit. See,
honestly, I've been wanting to do fantasy football.
Yeah.
And I was kind of specking out the team I would build.
Mm-hmm.
And when I texted you about that, I was like, I don't know how I feel about the auto draft.
Mm-hmm.
After, okay, I get this.
Yeah,
I can move around.
I like it requires you to not just like choose your team. It requires you to kind of be a GM, kind of a little more, I think. So
yeah, I like that.
I actually enjoy. I think Pete made a good decision, and his decision was based on he's like, we're never going to be able to get all 10 or 12 of these people like behind their computer at the same time. Like, let's just do an auto draft and make it easy. And
hey, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, me too.
My backup is whoever, the Miami quarterback.
Tua. Well, that's not a good thing right now.
No, I see that.
He got a concussion on Thursday night, and that's his third one. So
yeah, I saw that actually yesterday. But Richardson's up in free agent. I might do that switch later.
That might not be a bad idea to get somebody other than Tua, because I don't know what the future is going to look like for him.
Well,
with all the concussions and stuff, some people are recommending that he retire, which is wild to even think about. But
and the NFL has been incredibly sensitive about concussions.
Yes,
rightfully so. I mean, brain damage is pretty serious.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know that they care as much, or they were forced to care because of like lawsuits and things like that. They had to.
I think they were forced to care.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a full contact sport.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an element of you knew what you were getting into.
Well, that's always been my stance on it. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I don't want to see anybody have long-term injuries or brain damage from a sport, from a game. And it is a game, but it's still a career for these people, the same way our careers are what they are. But yeah, I mean, you do it. Part of it is like, you're
gonna get hit.
So I mean, yeah, it's still sad though for Tua, because it's just
it's early in the season to be facing that, and that sucks.
Yeah, so I would think he's at least going to miss a couple of games to kind of get this thing right and figure it out and, understand what his future looks like. But so.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get that figured out for my league, but not league, my team.
So, and I can't remember, speaking of the fantasy, I can't remember what his name is now because it was totally on a whim. So I went and picked up the 49ers backup running back because so Christian McCaffrey did not play week 1. Nell has Christian McCaffrey, and he hasn't played yet. Didn't play week 1. Not playing again in week 2. So about mid-game, he was Mason. Yeah. He was tearing it up in the middle of the game, and nobody knew who this guy was. So immediately, and they started talking about, well, McCaffrey might miss a few weeks and all these things. So I went right there and picked him up on waivers because I'm like, you know what? This guy's ripping it up. And, I mean, honestly, he plays for the 49ers. So, I mean,
the 49ers are going to be...
They're stacked. So, part of that is probably that he's just on such a dominant and good team. But
yeah,
regardless.
Well, and honestly, I think that's going to be one of our big matchups is Chiefs 49ers. That's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah. It'll be a really interesting game because they're both really, really good.
Yeah. They're looking like two good teams this year. There's the question. It's week 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who are you looking at for Super Bowl? We both kind of were thinking Chiefs there for a bit.
Yeah, I feel a little bit like I used to feel about the Patriots when they were in the middle of their run. Like, somebody's got to beat them at some point to tell me that they're not going to be in the Super Bowl. I haven't seen anything from them that tells me that they're not the favorite in the AFC to be in the Super Bowl. I think, the Ravens would have to be the second choice, just looking at talent that's on the team. Whether or not they recognize that, we'll see.
Yeah, the Ravens-Chief game,
mm-hmm.
That was brutal.
I mean,
that was brutal.
And the thing about that was the thing that gets glossed over is that Harbaugh was going for 2. He was going to win or he was going to lose. And you know what? I'm perfectly okay with that. You know what? He was making a decision. And Harbaugh is known for, he's kind of the roll the dice guy.
But that's actually a good thing in the game. That makes a good game.
Oh, my God. He was going for 2.
Yeah, because, okay, if I don't, we still lose. If I do, we win.
That toe robbed us of one of the most epic plays of the season that we were going to see, and it was only week 1. And that just tells you how closely matched those two teams are. It came down to a toe, and they were going to go for 2. So it was going to be a 1-point game either way.
Yeah. So the Ravens and the Chiefs are going to be an interesting contention this year.
Yes.
But there's who you think top 2 for AFC.
AFC, yes. Chiefs, Ravens for me. And I do still think the Chiefs are just a little bit better. And I'm not even sure talent-wise, if you look at talent up and down the roster, that they're better. They've been there now. They have the winning pedigree, and the Ravens got to get to that winning pedigree, that playoff winning pedigree that Lamar needs to achieve.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs have the advantage of they've got a better teamwork on the field.
Yes.
So,
but the Ravens will come together. You got to realize Derrick Henry has one game now under his belt. Those guys didn't play at all in the preseason for the most part. What, a couple snaps, maybe?
Yeah.
So they're going to come together.
Oh, I don't doubt that. I mean, they're going to be a good team this year.
Yeah, they'll be a different team.
The Chiefs just have that kind of offhand connection.
What do they say? To be the man, you got to beat the man. Yeah. And until they do it, the Chiefs have to be the favorite in the AFC. NFC, I'm an Eagles fan. The Eagles have talent coming out of their pores, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
So you want to see the Eagles get up there?
Yeah, but I mean the Niners concern me. Obviously, I think top to bottom, the Niners might be more talented because I think the Niners have a better defense than the Eagles do. But man, it's really close. So for me, it's the Niners and the Eagles on the NFC side.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's a Chiefs-Niners game.
Yeah. I don't think anybody would be surprised if they played in the Super Bowl.
I think the Eagles and the Ravens are going to give everybody a good run, but I think it's going to be a Chiefs-Niners.
The Eagles and the Ravens play this year.
Do they?
I think so.
Oh.
I think so. This is the year for the AFC, or the NFC East to play the AFC North, I believe.
Okay.
If you, Rob is currently looking at a schedule here.
Yeah, so I before we came in here, I made sure to actually pull up both the Steelers and the Eagles schedules.
The Eagles have a
week 13.
There you go.
Yeah.
When do the Eagles and Steelers play?
Week 15.
Oh wow, those are close together.
Yeah.
So that's always it's that PA battle. The Eagles and Steelers aren't rivals, but it's always that PA battle when they do play.
Yeah, and that is the interesting thing. It's the Eagles are the New Jersey Annex.
We live in central PA, and it's mixed. And honestly, there's a lot of Ravens fans around here too, to be honest with you, because we're so close to.
Can we just acknowledge the Raven fans are the outliers?
Yeah, but we're closer to Baltimore than we are Pittsburgh.
Well, yeah,
like geographically.
Yeah, but this is like an old steel mill town. If you're going to be part of a steel mill, you're rooting for the Stolers.
Yeah. In central PA, we're very mixed between the Eagles and Steelers. If you're listening to this from somewhere else in the country, and I hope you are, if the dynamic here in PA is right here in central PA, there's a lot of Eagles fans and there's a lot of Steelers fans.
There is, and I'm saying the Ravens are the outliers just because how did you get here?
I would agree with that, yes.
This is Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So, but what has happened, especially in the Baltimore area geographically, as Baltimore has grown and as it has gotten more expensive to live there, people from Baltimore have started to move north into York County and Lancaster County and stuff and commute. So.
I don't know if I ever shared this story.
Oh boy, you're laughing, so it must be a good one.
I have never had a moment where I have been. Let me rephrase that. I've had one moment where I've been nope, my mother-in-law is never coming into my house again, ever. Period. Wow. Okay,
that's bold.
Ray was 3 or 4 years old, and my mother-in-law came up for a visit, and. She was staying at the house with Melinda and the kids. I had to go to work. I came home from work, and I hear a bunch of rustling upstairs, and, oh, wait, here, quick. Okay, something's going on. Fine, whatever. I'm in the house. A minute later, I hear my kid coming down the steps, Ray, just boom, 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 wearing a Ravens jersey.
Oh, man. Surprised you didn't throw him out.
Well, I was keeping the kid. I was going to get rid of the mother-in-law who was putting him in the Ravens.
I'm surprised you didn't kick them both out.
I was like, no.
Time for you to find a new place to live,
not
right?
happening.
Well, Nell and I have learned recently that Jackson, her nephew, has chosen the Eagles.
You said that on one of the radio shows.
One of the shows, yeah. So, but
she is going to be showering him with Jackson, come to the better
side.
side.
Or no, has chosen... Wait. The Eagles? No, the Ravens. Chosen the Ravens. Yeah. No, I'm sorry, not the Eagles, the Ravens. However, Jesse tells us that, it changes from day to day. So, I mean, after all, he is...
Listen,
Jackson, he is a kid.
You have a cool uncle. Your cool uncle has a better football choice than your kind of cool aunt.
Well, just don't be a Steelers fan. Or a Redskins fan like his father.
I think we talked about this last year.
Not the Redskins, sorry, the Commanders.
Well, no, they screwed up that name change.
Well, they called them the Commanders. That's an awful name.
Okay. Everybody called them the Skins as a shorthand. So you know what you do? You do a skin color palette and just say we're the Skins.
Yeah. And wear these tan uniforms that look like you're not wearing. It look like you're in the buff with your numbers painted on.
I mean, you could do, special kind of
paint
numbers. The bat suit with nipples.
Oh, wow. Oh man. So Super Bowl prediction.
I'm saying Chiefs 49ers. They really look like the two powerhouse teams.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't like it.
No,
but
I'm gonna say the same thing, and I also don't like it. Nell and I have been fishing for an Eagles-Ravens Super Bowl as long as we know each other, and there's every chance that it could happen this year. They're both at the top of their prospective leagues. So
see, the one I want to see is a Steelers-Eagles Super Bowl.
That'd be fun.
That would be
They might have to shut Pennsylvania down for that.
That would be dangerous because then we would wind up with West Pennsylvania and New Pennsylvania.
Can you imagine?
Are you flicking me off?
No.
You're over there like...
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I just happened to be using that finger. No. Can you imagine the epic parties in PA? That would be... I mean,
my gosh, it would be
literally
amazing.
have to shut the state down on Monday because nobody would be able to make it to work.
Yeah, the whole state would be hungover.
It would be something.
Yeah, that would be an amazing game.
Yeah, it would be.
I do believe our adult supervision has just arrived.
I think so. Well, one of these days we may see that. So
it's a possibility.
I don't know that it's going to be this year, but I think the Steelers are on the right track in their rebuilding process, we'll call it. And we'll see if Justin Fields is the quarterback of the future there. But
I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're building Fields up. They're giving him a year to kind of find out who he is, how he plays under Wilson.
Yeah, and again,
Wilson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, as I said earlier, I feel like just being around Russell Wilson as a young quarterback, just understanding how he conducts himself professionally and things like that, because he's known for being the ultimate professional, and I feel like he could learn a lot in that regard.
And this is one of the things that I appreciate about the Steelers is it's team building.
Yes.
They don't have like the Tom Brady's and, we just got this superstar.
Yeah.
We've got a superstar team.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're here for.
Yep.
They fight and they work hard with a strong defensive line. Now, in that same breath, I think the Eagles are looking good this year. They're looking a lot better than the Steelers.
Well, I mean, there's a whole lot of talent in that Eagles team.
There really
especially
is.
on offense. Like
really is.
There's a lot of talent on that team. And they're still coming together a little bit because they added Saquon Barkley, and they really haven't played together. Honestly,
you guys are going to give it a good run for the money getting to the playoffs.
Yes.
I mean, there's little doubt in my mind.
I would certainly hope so.
Yeah, there's little doubt in my mind that you guys will be in the playoffs and be a contender. I would like for the Ravens to get to the playoffs on a wild card spot.
Yeah, that's because that would mean the Steelers probably won the division then at that point.
Yeah, I can always hope.
Yeah, and so the Bengals are kind of a mess. The Bengals are doing Bengals things again, like they're not paying the receiver. Like, what are you doing with Jamar Chase? Like,
does Ohio know how to do football?
It's like you're playing Russian roulette with Jamar Chase. You're literally, arguably, your best player. I realize you have Joe Burrow, but I mean, Joe Burrow is only going to be Joe Burrow if he can throw the ball to Jamar Chase.
I thought Joe Burrow retired.
No. What sport are you watching? He's literally like in his fourth year.
Yeah, okay.
So he was injured last year. He missed a lot of the year last year.
I'm wondering if that's what I'm thinking about.
Because I think he got injured in the Ravens game.
Yeah.
Last year. It was about mid-season maybe. He missed the second half of the season. So,
all right.
But yeah, so the Bengals are kind of in turmoil off the field a little bit. So, I mean, the Ravens and the Steelers look like.
Hey, if you're in Ohio, I'm sorry. Ohio has the highest number of astronauts.
No.
People are so desperate to escape that state, they're willing to strap a rocket to their back and risk death.
I think it's wild that Ohio has horrible football teams, but the Pro Football Hall of Fame is in Ohio.
That's true, but I mean, they've also got good college ball.
They do. They have one team. The Ohio State University.
Well,
yeah,
and they're not a bad team.
No, they're all. They're perennially good.
Yeah. And okay, they're not top tier, but they are good.
Oh, they're. I would say they're top tier, but yeah, it's they're and everything went crazy this year with college football with the dissolving of the Pac, the Pac-12 or Pac-10 or Pac-12. And teams ended up in the Big Ten and the ACC and the SEC, and it's like everything's all messed up. So,
what we've not talked about, and I don't know as much, is college ball.
Well, maybe we'll have to do a college ball episode.
We're going to have to, because you root for
Wake Forest.
And I root for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, actually, game day is in South Carolina. We have it on the TV right now. And, Wake Forest plays Ole Miss tonight. And they're going to get shellacked.
Yeah.
So, some reason they scheduled this as their homecoming game. Why you would do that, I have no idea.
Okay. How did we both pick bad college ball teams?
But when you picked them, they weren't. That's when Spurrier was there.
That was 20 years ago.
Yeah, they were a powerhouse then. But once Spurrier was gone, it hasn't been at all even close to being the same. But
it's been bad.
Yeah. So, but that's a whole other episode.
Yes, it is.
College ball. So, all right, Rob. Well, like I said in text messages, Nell and I have a packed day going on. So, this is why we kind of squeezed this in when we had time.
So we got to cover two things real quick.
Okay.
Take 3 minutes or less. Okay, what did we drink today?
Oh, we didn't. I thought. You know what? I thought we were gonna talk about that. So, Rob brought a bottle of Kahlua.
Yeah, so we just had Kahlua and coffee.
Yeah, because it's
10:30.
Yeah, but we started the episode at 9:30. So, right after 9:30. But yeah, so that's what we're drinking. So that will be in the email that you should sign up for.
And Kenny's Nuggies of Wisdom for the football season.
Nuggies of Wisdom for the football season. I'll give you this. As you're watching the players on the field, and, I kind of thought about this with the whole Tua situation on Thursday night with his concussion and the fact that they're talking about, will he or will he not play again? It's easy for us to be looking at our fantasy teams and being like this and that and the other thing. First and foremost, and Randy Moss actually said it very well after Tyreek Hill was detained last week, outside the first game of the season.
We didn't even cover that. Yeah.
No, and that's still playing out, and I don't even want to speculate what happened there, because there's a lot of people that have, but
and that is a whole interesting situation. But yes, all right.
But Randy Moss alluded to it that some people forget that these guys are human, and they have human. They're not robots. They're elite athletes that none of us could ever be. But at the same time, to be, handcuffed and put on the ground, and then have to play a football game, an hour later, or Tua with his concussion, everybody's like, oh, have him on my fantasy team, and what's it going to be? But people are worried about his long-term health. Remember, these guys aren't robots; they're humans like we are. They do superhuman things sometimes, but they are human. So it's deeper than your fantasy team and what you get to watch on the weekend. These are lives that they actually have, just like all of us. So.
And you're dead on with that. Where these are people, and you know what? I dropped Tua in the middle of the show, but he needs to recover. He needs to have the space and time to.
Yes, and him and his family need to work through what this looks like, because he's a guy in his mid-20s, and his entire life has been revolved around football. And you just need to retire. I mean, that's easy to say, but this guy's whole life has been this. So
and depending on the severity, a concussion like that is going to be something that follows him.
That's what everybody's talking about, and so.
Okay, Muhammad Ali.
Yeah,
I mean, look at him later in life. The hits to the face took a toll.
Yeah, they did. So remember, these guys are human, just like us, doing superhuman things, and they're entertaining us. So,
and we're just we're getting enjoyment and pleasure out of it, and we have our loyalties, but
don't wish injuries and things like that on your rival teams, because don't be an asshole.
I've been that guy.
So.
But I've yelled for a broken leg or two during a game.
You actually mean it, though. I mean, it's not but I guess it is what it is. So
I've yelled for somebody to tackle Tom Brady and break his legs.
Well, somebody did, so at least one season.
Needed to be a couple more.
I didn't really derail him, though.
No, it didn't. All right,
we're going to wrap this up. We're about to hit 45 minutes, so Rob, thanks for making time this morning to come hang out and do a little morning drinking with me.
I've got an easier schedule than you, so thank you for making time. And
Well, and I knew Sunday is kind of, with your job and then
Sunday's now a
football and, so I thought Saturday morning's probably the best for this because I actually I'm going to edit this and do all the work for it probably tomorrow because next weekend we're camping. So I won't have time to do it over the weekend next weekend.
You don't think the trees are going to have good reception out there?
No, and I don't want them to. I just want to sit around and do nothing while I'm camping, so not work.
A fire, a cigar, and a whiskey.
Yes. For me, mine is the cigar, but Nell will have the cigar also. So
we're working on it.
Yeah. Maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, Rob.
All right.
Thanks for coming this morning.
Cheers to the season.
Cheers. Catch you again in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening to the Drunk Squirrel Podcast.
Thanks for listening to The Drunk Squirrel. No need to pay a tab. Just be sure to follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and drop us a line, thedrunksquirrel82@gmail.com. Cheers.